All right. So how long have you owned the Honcho?
I think I was in the second batch of purchases. So I'm trying to remember. I think it was February. It was, or I know I actually got it was right before the state match. So it would have been in June. I think at the end of May is actually when I received it. So I think I ordered it maybe the end of March, beginning of April.
Okay. How are you liking it so far?
Oh, I love it. Absolutely love it.
Are you shooting open or what?
I have shot it exclusively in limited class.
Okay.
And so I competed all year with it in limited class. I knew it was going to be a problem, but I literally got it a week before the state match, took it out, and then I ended up shooting it at the state match, and then just using my CK as a backup for that match.
Nice. So you were shooting in that far up north in February?
I'll shoot whenever I can. If the weather is proper, I'll shoot. But that match was actually in June.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So I received the Honcho right at the end of May.
Okay. Awesome. They gotta snow blow the stages off and stuff and set them up.
We'll slop through the mud and the snow
you're way more hardcore than I am. That's for sure. I'm just a boy stuck down here in the South now, and going home, I'm just like, oh man, I can't even deal with it.
Yeah.
So you just got the one Honcho. Does anybody else in your area shooting one of those or?
Yeah, buddy of mine, Van Gurley, we ordered ours at the exact same time.
Nice.
And so we've been shooting that. He doesn't shoot quite as much limited as I do. Like I exclusively, did shoot limited, but I am actually changing the Honcho over to open right now.
Nice.
And I took it out. I was working up a load and worked up a load with HS6. And then I bought a whole bunch of major pistol going that direction with it with some Everglades. And then yesterday I took it out and then I got an RTS2 on it, and the RTS2 blew on me and snapped two little pieces in the inside by the battery tray. And so I'm probably going to end up going over to SRO on it. That'll be the direction I go. But no, so I'm switching over. The only thing I'm waiting on, I need to get a racker for it. But I did do it with a slide ride for a little while, which it actually was fine. But I need to be, I need to be almost at, 165 power factor for it really to function well. If I'm at 150, it won't. You need the single port comp, and I only have because I bought mine in the 3-gun. So that in that configuration. So then I had to side tapped and put on the mount, but now I'm just waiting on a racker. So
you're gonna love it. You're gonna love it.
Yeah, it's super flat. I started messing around with a dot. I'm 48 now, and I still move along. In the main, I shot Ryan Rock's SNS 400 Area 5.
Yeah.
And I finished in the top 10 limited, and each one of those majors. Well, I finished 11th actually at Area 5. And I'm shooting master class with it, but my eyes are starting to fade on the close. I can still see a fly at 30 yards on target, but I can't read my phone. So I'm getting to that point in my life. So I started using a dot, and I knew I drank the Kool-Aid as soon as it started happening.
Yeah.
My transitions were faster because I'm not coming back and trying to see that gap between the front sight. But what I loved about the Honcho right away, because I shot a CK for the last 2 years prior to it. And great guns. I can't say enough about them. It shot 40,000 rounds through it, not a hitch. Never had any hitch. It even broke down every piece. There was very little wear on everything when I broke it down before I got the Honcho for in the winter time there. But when it comes to recoil management of the Honcho, there's no one that will tell you. I have a Nemesis. I have the CK. You can put them side by side. 40 and 9, and it doesn't matter. And everybody that comes up and shoots them, and there's a friend of mine, Eric Wiseman, is going to be buying one here real shortly. He just sold his Titan to get the Honcho. The recoil impulse and the softness that you shoot from it is just, it just can't be beat. I mean, it's just the way it is.
Yeah. It's hard to describe. I know what you're talking about. It's just, it shoots way different than anything else I've ever shot, and it shoots great. So,
you can't say enough about it. And it's funny when people shoot it, because everybody loves the PT grip, so that's, that gets everybody, a lot of people are like, oh, it's sharp. But then most people that grab it, they'll be like, it's not too sharp, it's just the right. And I mean, I'd prefer shards of glass. So that's just kind of the way. But I put a lot of rounds per year down, and my hands are pretty calloused. But it's just right. I mean, and so that grip kind of gets people going. And then the Sanders cuts are always there. That's something that people are always like, oh, that's cool. But when people shoot it and then they shoot it, and I'll be telling them, hey, that's major. I put that over chronos, at 3 different majors. I'm always between 170, 171. And I just loaded it. My match rounds and my practice rounds were exactly the same. I just put it in and start loading up a whole bunch of stuff. I don't change anything.
Nope, I don't either. It's too much of a pain to switch dyes out or like, OALs or different powders. I don't even mess with it. But
no,
shoots great.
Yeah.
So when are you going to have your open gun set up finally, ready to go?
Well, I yesterday I thought, other than the racker, other than the racker, and Tiffany said that those would be available here like within days. I was set to go, so I got my load. And I have everything, but I'm gonna check out the load with the major, but with HS6, what I'm running right now, basically it's what I got from Chris Keen. And so that seems like I was just reading on Enos and what he was throwing out there and stuff. So I pretty much just mirrored what he had, and that's pretty much worked out for me. And coming from limited and shooting open, now I'll have to start to, figure out some load difference. But to me, it's like, oh my God, this is, it's so flat. You feel this violent vibration in your hand. The gun don't move. It's kind of it's just completely different than limited is. And so, but other than the dot going down on me, I thought I was ready yesterday. So
yeah, oh, that's too bad.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah, it happens. It always happens. I've known people with, it doesn't matter what optic, like you're always going to have some issue, I think, at some point.
It's a pretty good shake that you hit it with, so.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I know what MOA are you going to be running with the SRO?
The 5.
Okay. Yeah.
I have a 5 on I have a primary machine up or slide done on a Shadow 2 that I have an SRO on now that I like. I do like the RTS, the glass, and I'm fairly new to the dots, but the dot or the glass is real clear. The dot is real nice on the RTS 2. So and you don't have much of a hood on there, so that part's really nice. You got a little bit more of that tint on the SRO, and then the hood's a little bit thicker, but I don't know enough about it. So when I'm shooting it, I'm still, my biggest problem right now is being target focused, completely target focused. And not coming back to that dot and kind of, doing that. I'm so used to irons and coming back, I'll catch myself staring at the dot too much.
Yep.
So my focal point's really small. So I don't, it does, all, that the rim around the outside, it doesn't really bother me with the SRO. As far as that go, and under speed, I don't really, I don't really notice it. If the dot's there and it's, transposed on a target and pulling the trigger. So.
Yeah, you can't be thinking about it too much.
No. If it's bouncing around, it's in the A box. I'm pulling it.
Yeah. Close enough.
Close enough.
Yeah, especially shooting open. You're good. Good to go.
I like major over the minor of carry optic.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference. So how long you been shooting?
Well, I've been shooting my whole life. So I shot back in the 90s, actually. I started shooting IDPA and USPSA. There was one club. And then I started my own business and I had kids and things like that. So then I didn't shoot at all until 2014.
Okay.
And
How long of a break? How long?
Yeah, yeah, I didn't shoot at all, but I always hunted, but I did shoot a lot of long range rifle. I just didn't shoot any pistol.
Okay. Okay.
So I worked on that, like 6 PCC, bullseye BRs, 30 BRs, 6 BRs, a lot of long range stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so then my son was getting of age where he was 13 at the time, and he was like, "Hey, Dad, I would like to shoot a pistol, And I'm like, okay, got back in the safe and started doing that again. And we were talking about it, so I took him to a steel challenge match at the club that used to belong. It's really right down the road, and we started doing some steel challenge in 2014. And I met a guy there, and he's like, "Hey, you should shoot the Indiana multi-gun series."
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, that sounds cool. I'll shoot some of this 3-gun. I've heard about it and whatever. He's like, oh, sign up for the series. I'm like, no, I haven't shot in years. This is the first time I've shot. He's like, no, just sign up. And I did. And I ended up finishing second in limited that year in the series. And then I shot 3-gun 14, 15, and 16. Okay. Did really well. 15, 16 won the series for limited class. Okay. And shot some majors. I got second, and Michigan, behind Rick Birdsall, which he was, I think 2 years ago, he was a USPSA multi-gun champion. But so finishing second to Rick, I didn't really, I didn't know a lot of people in it. I was just shooting.
Yeah.
And so it was cool. And then I got third one year at the Michigan, and sixth at Missouri, and it did pretty well there. But then I ended up having a knee replacement in the spring of 2017. Mm-hmm. So, and I was kind of getting burned out on traveling, because we would travel all around the state for the series and stuff. And so some of the buddies I knew they said, well, shoot USPSA. I'm like, okay, So at the end of 16, I shot like 3 matches. And so after my knee replacement, I came out 4 weeks after I had my knee replaced, kind of hobbled around and shot it. And and I had fun, and then it just got more and more and more. Then I just went full-fledged USPSA.
Yeah.
And
you shoot any PRS stuff then, or like anything like that, like precision rifle stuff?
No, I kind of put that. They're all in the safes now, and I haven't done much with that. It's been kind of full-fledged on the USPSA. I even stopped shooting Steel Challenge. So I did pretty well in that. I won production division in Indiana in 16. But what I noticed was when I would go out and practice steel, you would shoot and miss, and just until you get a ding, and you didn't know where you're going. So I stopped shooting almost all steel after I kind of figured out was shooting some majors and doing some things in USPSA. And I was like, okay, I'm going to stop shooting steel. I didn't even put any steel out there in practice. I was like, everything's going to be paper. I went out and bought like 200, 100 box targets, IPSC targets, and like 20,000 pasters. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna figure this out. And so I stopped shooting it all. So and then after every time I would shoot something, I would repaste it, and I would look at where my shots were at and what was going on. I was like, no more. So I stopped shooting pretty much everything except for USPSA. Okay. I just said, nope, that's what I'm going to do. What I'm going to focus on, at least for a couple of years. Why I still got a couple of years left. So.
Well, you're switching to open. You'll be able to shoot that forever, right?
I hope so. Yeah. As long as I can run and pull the trigger to see a dot, I'll play that game. So
yeah. Do you listen to any podcasts at all?
Very little.
Okay.
I'm not real internet. I'll go on Enos to read, but basically information, just to pull information. But like what's going on or things like that. I read a lot. Like I've read all of Enos's main book, but then Ben Stoger's and stuff. I've read all his stuff, and then I went over with Vogel and trained with him earlier this spring, and so I don't do much with the podcast or.
I was just gonna say there's one that I felt was kind of helpful, because I think I was in the same boat as you were, and I had shot limited for years in iron sight for years, and then I kind of just wanted to shoot. I think I wanted to just do something a little more competitive, like jump right into the open class. Mm-hmm. And shoot with the faster, more competitive guys. And so I started just I was thirsty for knowledge, so I would listen to every podcast and like read Stoker's books and like anything and everything that I could. I was just reading it or listening to it. But there was one on the Firearms Nation podcast by a guy. The host on there, his name's Eric Levy, but there's one on there, and the guy's name is Yong Lee, but he's like a pretty well-known proponent for like red dot and red dot mounted on slides for carry guns and things like that. But he's got a pretty interesting podcast on there on red dots and kind of like what his methodology is with training and things like that. It's pretty good.
What was this again? What was the site or the podcast?
Firearms Nation podcast. Yeah, FNP. But the guy's name is Yong Lee on that particular podcast. But I'll text it to you at some point. If you're just on the road or something and you wanna listen to something, shooting related,
sure,
you can always check it out. But cool. Yeah. What's next on the match schedule for you?
So like I say, I'm going to be switching over here. I'll be shooting more carry optics and open, kind of, doing a little bit of both, getting used to the dot and trying to get away. That's one of the things I worked on today. I just took the carry optics gun out, and just as soon as I break the second shot, where I'm finished on that target, wasting no time on it for my transitions and getting over. So then I'll just load up a bunch and hit a lot of practices. And then I was looking at my schedule for next year. I'm always going to continue to shoot Area 5 and Ryan Rocks. Those are just two that I'm just going to have on my schedule. I'm going to try to shoot the Michigan sectional, and hopefully the Illinois or the Wisconsin sectional this year. Those are for sure. Indiana sectionals, probably a given. I'll shoot that as well. So I won't be able to make a nationals, but I want to do that at some point in time. Maybe the year after, maybe 2021, I'll try to do a nationals match. But it'll be interesting to see how this year goes, just kind of shooting. It's more going to get used to looking at that dot and not, or looking at the target and transposing that dot and just making that transition this year. That's going to be my big thing.
Yeah, I shot Ryan Rocks this year. And that's a great match. I'm going to try to make it up there this year as well. And it's for a good cause, and you're shooting great match for it. It's run real well. So I'm going to try to get back there this year. But anything else you want to say about the Honcho? And
it's one of those platforms that it's very unique. I have close to 18,000 through it now. I have had zero issues with anything. Well, I did have a mag button break, which was the strangest break I ever had, but that's in the casting and metal. And I'm in the steel industry, so I kind of understand that. That it just had a lamination inside the mag and the mag release, and it broke in a strange spot. I've never even heard of it before. But wear, tear, everything like that at 18,000, there's nothing. I mean, you can't, it's the fit, the finish, the quality, and that's not even talking about the recoil impulse of it, which is really, it's bread and butter for sure. When you shoot it 9 and you're just shooting 9 limited, it's just ridiculous. It's like my recoil management that I had, even from shooting, from major limited, you can't even, you shoot it more like a 22. I mean, and that's what I tell people. It's like, you don't even want to put even like that post ignition push, because if you do, you're going to dip. You have to like literally just sit still with your left hand and like just move your right finger because the gun just sits so flat. It's just ridiculous. I mean, and it's funny to see people's eyes because everybody that does it, we've had them, all these guns all out next to each other. I have a Nighthawk, a GRP, and that's a nice gun too. And, you'll put out your, Wilson, and you put out, like I say, that, the Atlas, and you put out the CK, you put them all out there and you shoot it and you have people grab them. It's so funny when you see people's eyes. They're like, what? And you're like, hey, load the mags up. You can put the same in it, whatever. And so it's them. It's like there's no trickery or anything. And it's funny to see, and it's just such a neat platform. And it is easy. I didn't change it over a lot. Because when I kind of locked it in, I kind of just locked it in for my 40, but I did change it over to 9 minor, and you're probably not supposed to, but I didn't even change the bar, for the breech face. I just, I mean, but
I won't tell.
It'll center up. It's kind of like a Glock, throwing a wolf, barrel in there. So it was, it ran. I mean, it did. It never had a problem. Never even had a single malfunction. I mean, it ran. I didn't change that breech face on it, so it ran fine. And but it's so soft shooting. I mean, and that's the thing. And I did run it for a little bit, put an optic on it. And when you do put an optic on it for slide ride, because I've got a lot of, like, they had a 3-gun match down at the club today, and I went down there practicing, but met up with those guys because I couldn't get there early enough to shoot it. And they were asking me about it, because there's a bunch of guys that are interested, and Eric's going to buy it, and he's going to run it minor. And he was asking me frame mounted or slide mounted. And I said, if you're going to run minor and you're going to run a single port, and he wants to run limited, and then there's only going to be times that he's going to run it open. I said, if you do it a slide ride, the dot movement is about the same as a frame mounted with major when it's a slide ride. I mean, and he's a big guy. He's like 6'3", and he's got huge hands. I'm like, it's going to be so flat for you. And then with 3-gun, you're just 2 on paper, and it's fine.
Yeah.
Those guys can hit a corner shoulder shot. It don't matter. And it's good. So, and that makes it a really, I wouldn't even have probably went open, except for I had it. I mean, to be honest with you, and it was like, okay, I was messing around with the dot and kind of seen it, and then I was like, well, I have a barrel, and in my box, let me throw it on there and throw a slide ride. And I'm like, oh, this would be really cool to do this. Oh, I like the dot, and then I added on to the frame mount, to do that. And I probably wouldn't have went down the road to do it, but you can. And since you can, it kind of enticed me into it. Then when I started shooting, I'm like, oh, this is awesome, and so it's really, and I don't have other open guns. There's other people that have, and I've shot them a little bit, just kind of messing around here and there, just STIs and one, it's a Chaos. Nice, really nice gun. So I can't really say as far as the open goes, but from a limited platform, limited 9 or 40 major, unbelievable. I mean, it really, until you sit side by side and shoot them all, and everybody that does do that side by side will tell you it's just the recoil impulse is just so different. It's very, very nice. And it's super soft. It's very pleasant. It's nice. Like I said, my CK is nice. The Nemesis is really nice. They're nice. I mean, they're really great guns. So it's just, but that design with that barrel lockup gives it something, and that eats up a lot of that muzzle flip, and it really does. So
yeah, I couldn't say it better myself, because all the time, I'm
very impressed, very, very impressed. The biggest thing, I didn't really know much about it when I decided to buy it. Van was the one that kind of talked to me about it. He's like, hey, they're open, we got a chance. And I'm like, okay, let's buy one. So I'm like, shit, I bought this. I don't really know anything about it, to be honest with you. Other than I know PT's grips, and I loved them. Other than that, I really didn't know anything about it. So it was just a matter of the longevity. You're like, okay, well, this is a new design, and I knew it was tested, but how everything is. But right now, I have no concerns. I have none. I break it down and clean it out. Like, say, once you hit, around that 10,000-15,000 mark of major, you could tell if a gun, where it's going to stand, and longevity. It hasn't, the frame to slide fit hasn't changed from day one.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And it didn't require any break-in either.
Yep, me neither. So going back to the zero thing, because now you're going to be you'll probably switch back and forth every once in a while. So I just got done shooting the Fort Benning multi-gun match, and I shot irons tack ops for that. So I shot irons on everything. So I switched everything out, and then I went down to South Alabama, down to Dothan, Alabama gun club to shoot a match, a USPSA match this morning. But I never had a chance to re-zero my gun when I, set it back up for shooting open, and went back to a bay to zero the thing, and it was dead on. And I was actually kind of surprised. I thought for sure like there'd be something up with the mount, how I put it back on there and whatever else, but it was dead on. I didn't even need to worry about zeroing it at all. So
and I found, like, when I did the slide ride where I put the 9-barrel in there or the 40, I never had to readjust anything ever.
Yeah,
like
that's awesome.
I mean, my 9 and 40 even hit the same, and then I could change take the sight off and put the dot on and go back and forth, and I never touched it ever.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's super convenient, and then gives you the option, because I didn't know if I was even going to shoot that match this year or not. And I really hadn't been shooting 3-gun too much this whole year. And it was kind of a last minute thing, kind of like one of those impulse buys where you're just like, yeah, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's awesome. So you want to, anything else you want to give a shout out for, maybe your local gun club or what?
Oh, yeah, sure. The North Porter County Conservation Club, there's a lot of guys. We got a great, and really in this particular region, we've got a great group of grandmasters and masters that are shoot with around Indiana and in Michigan. So for North Porter County Conservation Club, Repeat Briggs, Van Gurley, Tim Hyman, Joel Nellis, I got a great group of guys that I shoot with all the time, and then we just keep pushing each other, and that's one of the things. But all the clubs around Indiana do a really good job at USPSA and promoting sport. The guys down south around Atlanta and down there, they do an excellent job. They're always putting the state together. Those guys are Dan Hart and that group are phenomenal, and I hope they keep putting great matches together for us. So
good, awesome.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate your time for sure, and sorry about the technical difficulties. So between the three of us, we finally figured it out. So
well, no problem. Your next one will be going a lot smoother now.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, if you need anything else, you want to talk, guns or Ryan Rocks or whatever, just give me a shout. You got my number now. So
sounds good. I will.
All right. Awesome. Thanks, Doug.
Back at you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.